everybody. Welcome to Southern Renaissance, the podcast and the TV show on YouTube. So I am thankful and so happy to be here at Orion Amphitheater. I always want to say amphitheater. I think that's a Southern thing.
Yeah, it's amplified. Like the brain just tries to go there.
Yeah. I'm like, turn it up loud.
Loud. That's what we are about.
Loud. But this is Alex Hendricks. I'm so glad to have her on today. And she's a singer-songwriter and, among other things, Renaissance woman. So
thank you.
You know, and I had to have some of my cool, lady friends on here because it's, I didn't want it to turn to the old white dude, middle-aged white dude
the
show.
Southern White Man podcast.
This is the Southern. Yeah, I would have just got a camera and went into my truck and just yelled at my phone.
Park in the woods. Just go for it.
Yep, park in the woods.
Night vision.
Yep.
Great.
But but it's so good for you to be here and let me come out to the Orion. It's just a cool place. This is the first time I've been here because
I'm so excited to be here.
I haven't been here before, but I just got back not that long ago. But man, it's so many cool bands just since I've been here.
I know we've had an amazing 2 seasons worth of lineups. So we're just hanging out in one of the big artist dressing rooms right now, and
nice.
I get to be artist for a day. This is nice.
Yeah, this is a suite. I mean, this is not like when I think of dressing room. Like I'm like, well, I gotta get my rhinestones on. Let me go to the car and wallow around, and people are walking by and I'm like, what is wrong with it?
What's
That's
happening?
why I don't put any stickers on my car.
Sure.
So you don't
want to know who it is.
That's right.
That's right. This is bigger than my first apartment.
For real.
In square footage, genuinely, I think.
It's very nice. And am I mistaken, but I heard that this is like NASA furniture?
Yeah, a lot of it is. So this is the table that we're set up on is antique. A few pieces around. They actually have little NASA barcodes.
That's awesome.
But it's so cool because when the original NASA building that was at Marshall Space Flight Center from when Von Braun was here, the one his office was in,
man.
When they tore it down, because of, I don't know, asbestos or something disgusting, we got
lead paint.
Yeah. People were dying, whatever.
Whatevs.
We got a bunch of the furniture from it. So because everything is very like mid-century modern themed, it's like Muscle Shoals focused, it's NASA focused, it's all very like 60s space race era.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You knew I would love that.
I know I did.
It's retro and space.
It's true.
I'm just going to call it space furniture. I'm just going to pretend like this was in space and you brought it down.
That's what Dave Matthews Band said on stage. Dave Matthews was like, my couch was in space. And I was like, that's almost what I told you.
My couch was in space.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Close.
I can't think about that guy though without thinking about that time their bus like dumped all that
oh my God,
feces on those people from that bridge.
Rough times.
So this took a dark turn.
I didn't think we'd get to feces that quickly, but
I figured
we did it within 5 minutes.
Yeah, I figured it'd take at least 20 minutes, but
I thought we'd get a few tidbits in first.
I love that
Here
word.
we go.
Well, all right. Well, let's talk about you. Where are you from originally? Because I know you from the music scene, but like I don't know you like really well, like your past.
Sure.
Because it's very dark and buckle up.
I'm a Huntsville native. So I was born in Huntsville, spent a lot of my childhood in Athens, and then came back here for college and have been here in Huntsville ever since.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's an awesome place. And I mean, it's Alabama, but it's just like its own thing. It's like a microcosm.
It's true. It's its own little melting pot and its own little ecosystem. It's really cool.
I say microcosm so people think I'm smart.
I like that. I immediately went, that guy's smart.
Yeah, it took me a month to remember it, but I worked on it. And I'm like,
no, you got it. Yep. You can pull it out at any time.
Yep, anytime.
It's good to have that up your sleeve.
That's my weapon choice. Well, what did you have any heroes growing up as far as and I'm not talking just music, but like we all have I know I have a few that was non-music that like I had growing up.
I feel like all of mine were music. truly, Paul Simon, I was so obsessed with Paul Simon growing up.
Yeah.
Elvis, I was a big Elvis kid. I remember getting old enough to understand that maybe Elvis was problematic and was like, oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Who am I? It was like a little bit of a life crisis.
I understand.
That my first at age 10 or something. I was just really, really into like Joan Baez and Carly Simon, just really songwriter heavy, lyric focused writers. There were always the people that I just was like, oh my goodness, I want to do that.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that in your writing. You're very,
Thank you.
It's a good thing. It's that storytelling tradition, which is really cool. You and I like the rock, but I love the just
true.
telling a story. It's a beautiful thing.
I've admired the way that Americana has kind of created this space where you can do a little bit of both. So it's the folk storytelling and it's like edgy, edging into the rockier side of country or the countryer side of indie. And it's just this beautiful meld. I really love that genre for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just there's so much good American music. I just call it American roots music. I mean, you pull from so many different things, like you say, folk and jazz and blues and rock and roll country. It all mashes up together like smashed potatoes.
Good old twice baked potato.
Yeah, twice baked. Wait, what's a twice baked potato?
Let me change your life, Tony. A twice baked potato is when they bake a potato to where they can scoop out the innards. Scoop out the innards, they put all the stuff in it, they mix it all together, they put it back in the potato skin, and they bake it.
What?
It's
I've never heard of this.
Thing.
I like that you said take out the innards because I love to use that word anytime I can. But I was just imagining someone like chewing it, and how like a mother feeds a baby bird,
just like regurgitating it.
Yeah, that would be gourmet in some places.
That
I'm sure.
would be
like that weird cat coffee that passes through the cat. There we are with the feces again. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I forget the name of it, but it's this fancy coffee. I'll just keep my Folgers,
Yeah, I'll stick with what I know.
I feel like it's more of a novelty.
Like a thing you can say you've done.
Yeah, I feel like it would not add anything to the coffee.
I mean, maybe we're really missing out, though. You just never know.
Maybe so. I do like cats, but not like that. So.
No. The feces is my least favorite part of the cat, though, famously.
This is not a conversation that I expected to have with you. This is like the opposite.
I'm going to be honest. This is what I expected.
This is exactly what
this is what I thought.
You were already making notes.
Yeah.
You
I was like, how can I get us to feces twice in 2 minutes?
Yeah. Well, I know like you with the storytelling with your music, and me as well. Did you have any favorite authors growing up that really influenced you? Because I know usually if it's someone that's in that kind of vein, I'm just like, oh, they're reading, they're readers.
I was a big Jane Austen girl.
Okay.
I read a lot of Jane Austen as a kid. And I really think the way that she kind of introduced this point of view of storytelling where it's like witty and it's in on its own joke and you kind of get everyone's inner monologue without anyone being the narrator, this like omnipresent kind of omniscient narrator voice. She kind of was the first one to really do that.
Yeah. That's big now with entertainment everywhere.
Yeah.
It's very self-aware kind of thing.
That's exactly right.
She was groundbreaking.
She was, and she was incredible. She was, so I read a lot of her stuff. I think that really actually shows because my music video, which will be coming out very soon for The Sound Things Make When They Break, which was the single off of the CP, is Regency era, which is Jane Austen era.
Nice.
So it's very like at a party, Jane Austen, 1800s kind of thing. Yeah.
I like it. And it jumps around like we were talking about how both our brains work very similarly.
Yeah.
And we're kind of just jump around. I'm like, yeah. And I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time with you, but I've got certain friends that I'm like that with, that it's just like we could go forever, just back and forth.
Never stop.
Yeah, it's a constant improv. Like you just cued from something, especially if it's music related. You're like, oh, okay, that's
all yes ands and reference points. Like with me, that's always.
Yep.
I love a bit.
Yeah, a bit, anything for the bit.
Anything for the bit.
Even if I'm the only one that gets it, like it's like, oh, this is hilarious. No one else thinks it's funny at all.
I have bits that are just for me. Like my favorite bit right now is that anytime anyone brings up any video game, I say, "Is that anything like Luigi's Haunted Mansion 3?" No matter what video game. It just
doesn't make. Is that a real video game? Yeah. Okay. But it's funny to you because it's that specific reference.
It's so specific, and it's like they'll say it about like, I don't know, Assassin's Creed or like something that's like a really, or like Call of Duty, I don't know, something that's like a pretty intense video game. And I'm like, is that anything like Luigi's Haunted Mansion 3, which is a video game where you are Luigi and you go through a haunted mansion and you vacuum up ghosts.
It actually sounds pretty awesome.
It's the best video game in the world. But yeah, I love doing that just anytime a video game comes up.
I'll remember that. I'm like,
and it's definitely just for me. See, that bit is just for me.
Now I'll be like, oh, I see you. And you're like, Luigi's Haunted Mansion 3, right?
3 is the best one. Yeah.
Make sure you get it right.
3 is the one.
3.
Yep.
I played some really terrible video games in my day because I'm older, and I started on Atari. So they made documentaries about that terrible E.T. game.
Yes.
It's supposed to be one of the. I used to play that like over and over, and I'm pretty sure that's what's wrong with me because I got so frustrated at a young age and built up the anxiety that it fueled it. The
bottled rage.
E.T. just kept falling in the little pit.
It's all E.T.'s fault. Have you seen the documentary about the guys that were trying to break the high score of Donkey Kong or something?
I think so. It's been a little while since I saw it. Yeah.
That was a wild one.
Yeah. They spent a lot of time thinking about Donkey Kong.
A lot of time. And I think one of them cheated. I can't remember. It was like pretty
how
intense.
do you cheat at Donkey Kong?
I think he like rigged the game somehow. I don't know. I really need to rewatch it because I think I might just be making up what happened in this real world game.
Yeah. I think he hacked it.
I think he broke in and he lived inside it for a while and he learned what it
He became one with the machine. I love it. Could write a play right now.
Oh my God, let's do it.
Well, cool. Well, I mean, you've been doing music for a while. I know since I've known you, and many years before that. I'm assuming. What got you into playing music? I know that you said Joan Baez and a lot of that kind of stuff. So is that was it just the folk kind of stuff and Paul Simon, or did you have other influences that kind of?
I think for me, the thing that got me into music was I had so many things to say and I needed an outlet for it. And I've always considered myself much more of a writer than a musician because I think I would probably find other ways to write even if I didn't know how to play music. I just happened to grow up in a household that was with a dad that was really into singer-songwriters and played several instruments himself and had this basis for it. And obviously that's also such a big part of Southern culture is the ability to just sit around and play music together and grew up in Athens with the Fiddlers Convention. And so that was the most accessible option for me. But I just had so many feelings and I needed to make people listen to them. And when you talk them at people, they're not as responsive as when you play them at people.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. It's like, I'm so sensitive. Yeah. I like joke about my guitar. I'm like, I got Gibson to put a special coating that absorbs my tears as I play.
Yes.
So it doesn't get everywhere.
Yeah.
And
if they had that, I would go for that. Immediately.
I mean, I like to rock and I like to be like aggressive, but at the same time, I'm super sensitive.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I get it.
I think that the emotion is something I don't think I would ever be able to really disentangle from my music. And I like other people's songs that aren't as emotion heavy and aren't as like transparent and like kind of gritty, I guess, emotionally. But I don't think I could ever make that kind of music and feel like I was giving anything that hadn't been given. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's to me, you're just being authentic to yourself, and that's what it's about, no matter what you're doing. And that's cool. That's a good thing.
Well, and some people I know people who are amazing songwriters. A lot of people who are amazing songwriters who are music forward with their songwriting. And so they could write something and not put any, real like vulnerability into a lyric, and it would still be a beautiful piece of art. I just I don't have that.
Yeah. No,
that's not me.
I get it. And I've talked about that before with some of my friends. I just call it my exorcism, because I get all this built up and I'm like, I got to get it out somehow. And it feels better. It's a form of therapy for me.
True.
I get it out of my system. And it seems like the best songs, or in my opinion, that I've written were just really short, like written very quickly most of the time. And it's like, oh, I got this in my head.
They're there already, and you're just kind of like putting it out.
This hidden force is like,
No, I agree with that completely. I also do feel like you do a thing. I feel like if I'm in a certain mood, sometimes I will be on like Spotify or whatever musical outlet. I don't know how you feel about
this
Spotify.
Is sponsored by Spotify.
I don't mean to get political here.
No, you're good.
About streaming rights and distribution amounts and things like that. But I feel like if I go to look for a song to match how I'm feeling, if it's not there, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I have to write that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
totally,
I need something that fits that exact itch that I need right now.
One of my best friends, Tommy Norris, the last episode, I was sort of talking to him about that, how when we were younger, there was no internet. I hate to sound like the old white dude, but when we were younger, there was no internet. So it was like, we tried to find interesting things, but if we couldn't find it, we were just like, okay, let's try to make what we like.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So you feel it and you hear it in your head, but you're like, I can't find it. Yeah, yes. I get it.
Yeah, I've been totally doing that more and more lately. And I do think it's like almost an overwhelm of option at some point. That it's like,
it is.
It's kind of the pendulum has swung so far the other way that I'm like, I have 20 million songs I can listen to. I don't know what to do about that. I guess I'll just sit and write my own.
I know that's true. That's another now it's too many choices.
Yeah.
Before
I want 5 choices.
Yeah. Just narrow it down. And before I was like, well, I don't have anything else. I'll give it another try.
Right.
This is not too bad. This Creed is okay. Wait, no. But it's funny because, and I think a lot of songwriters they think similarly. They think very much alike.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, and just that general concept. Unless, I don't know, I guess there's other. It depends on the type of sing. I think if it's raw, bare bones, like kind of what you do, and what some of my stuff is.
Yeah.
It's just. You're putting yourself out there. It's emotional.
It is. It definitely is. I haven't cried on stage in a while though, so that's good.
Yeah,
that was nothing for a little while.
Let me see if I can get some tears going.
Tonight's coming quick.
That's right. Well, what are some, other than we talked about the books, I know that sort of influenced you. What are some other things that kind of influence your songwriting that's non-musical?
I really love like Victorian Gothic, everything in general, but especially like Victorian Gothic literature and Victorian Gothic film representation. I just think that that's such an evocative kind of dichotomy of this very buttoned up society that somehow got into this weird occult, like you saw, it was just this weird antithesis of all of this propriety mixed with all of this darkness, and really letting it mingle for the first time and dealing with the idea that maybe the monsters weren't the monsters, or maybe the, beautiful people were the monsters. It was just this, I think that more than any other genre of anything, that's really an inspirational thing for me.
That's cool. I've never really thought about it like that, but I see what you mean. It's like, for some reason in my head, I was thinking of like, Abraham Lincoln's wife that was all doing
Mary
like
Todd.
Old Mary Todd.
Good old Mary Todd.
Good old Mary, because she was doing the, what was this? You were doing like seances and stuff in the White House? Or it's like,
they used to do seances all the time. They used to eat mummies. They were wildin'.
Fourscore. Hey, put that skull down, Mary.
Skull down.
Dang,
Mary, I'm busy. Yeah, it was such a first Gothic culture.
Abe Lincoln was kind of goth though. Like he had the top hat, and he was always wearing black.
He had a vibe,
from what I remember.
He looked like a crow.
Like a crow. That's what I say about my. I've got a little black cat, Ivy, and when she's hungry, I'm like, you quit crowing, because she's like, rah, rah, and it's like being waterboarded.
Yes. Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I love her.
Do.
But yeah, she's
That's
something
a little
else.
too much. I have cats, and I try to hush them, and it encourages them more. It's so frustrating.
Like, I don't think you heard me the first time.
Mother.
Mother. They just start singing like Danzig.
I do have another bit that my cat is Robert Burns reincarnated, and I don't really know where that came from, but
that's awesome. I'm
really sticking with it. Lord Byron was what I thought he was for a little while, but I think he's a little too into nature. I think he's Robert Burns. And Scottish. Scotland is another thing that I really just resonate with.
Okay.
Just, Celtic mythology.
Oh, me too.
Oh my gosh.
Me
I love
too.
it.
Well, I found out.
Oh yeah.
Different biological father was
That's
Macaulay.
right.
So I'm super Irish. I had no idea, but
it's amazing.
I love it, and the tradition of storytelling, and just it's so ingrained, and it's crazy if you go back and look. I haven't studied a lot of Scottish history, but I know in Irish history, you go back in history, and it's sort of like the history and mythology sort of starts combining with each other, and 100%. It gets really weird, and it's interesting.
It's so hard to tell what was real and what was kind of just folklore that got shifted into, these larger than life things. It's amazing.
It's crazy, but cool. Like, I don't know why there's not more films and things about that kind of mythology. I mean, I like the other Greek and Roman and all that, but
I'm a big mythology person anyway, but I really do. Scotland is just like my favorite place in the world. I would go back there anytime, any place. Well, any place is Scotland. I don't know why I said that. Any place. I would go to Scotland, any place.
Just drop me on the jagged rocks. I'm there, dude.
Leave me in the North Sea. I'll fend for myself. What?
So dramatic.
I know. I really am. It's going to be a problem for me.
It's going to be a problem.
It's not going to end well.
Well, we were talking before. You work here at the Orion Amphitheater. I've worked so hard. It's because I'm like, amphitheater. So you work at the amphitheater. It's tough.
I love it.
Because
whatever you want to call it, I'm here for.
Because I hear myself talk more and not just singing. I'm thinking about like what I'm saying. I'm like, man, I've always said this a certain way. I'm like, that's not even right.
There are so many things that I think social media has brought to the forefront, like hearing my own voice back at me in a speaking situation where I'm like, where does any of this come from? Who do you think you are?
Yeah. I mean, well, I got some of it from my dad because he was very Southern, like lower Alabama, LA, lower. Yeah. So he's like, boy, don't slubber your work. And like, he had all this crazy, like, dog, and so it's like, I say dadgummit.
Yes.
Like it, but unironically, like I'll get mad about dadgum, and I'm like, oh no, I'm my dad.
I do that sometimes too, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, but
I said something no count. I said the other day, I called somebody a no count.
A no count?
Have you ever heard no count?
I don't think so. Is that a new rapper? Is he on tour with 2 Chainz?
Yeah, the O is a 0.
Okay,
no count.
Cool. I like it.
No, I just when somebody was like kind of a bum or like worthless, you'd go, oh, he's a no count.
I think I might have heard that, but I've never really thought about it. It's like you hear so many folksy sayings and they all kind of blend together.
They really do. And until they come out one day and you're like, where did that
And it's kind of a regional
from?
thing too,
Yeah.
I think, in like different dialects. It's so
true.
interesting. Yeah.
And where your grandparents were raised is like
Yeah, totally.
what you're exposed to.
I think so.
So maybe not even the place where you are from, which is interesting too.
And I love your shirt. You're wearing the
thank you.
Western stuff today. It's
I
so
am.
cool.
This is a Third Man Records
Oh,
shirt,
nice.
actually.
Yeah.
Really into it.
It's sort of a bolero style. Yeah. I love
it's very
that.
comfy too.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm trying to go for a look today. We'll see.
You're nailing it, man. you got the look. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that bolero style. I got a jacket kind of like that, but you got the gold. I mean,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
gold
Very,
and black.
Very opulent over here.
Opulent. That's a great word. Well, cool. Well, that's, I was talking about, how have you liked working here at Orion? I mean, like,
I love it. It is the best job in the world. I cannot imagine doing anything else at this point. I do artist hospitality, so backstage is my domain, and I just get to make sure everyone is having a great time, entertaining the entertainers.
That's
as it
awesome.
were. Yeah.
You go in there with your like vaudeville outfit on.
Yeah. I do a mime thing.
You just
Sometimes
walk, completely silent.
yeah.
You just walk as they're getting dressed. You're just like, you walk in doing the mime thing.
Yeah,
And so like,
I wait until they are undressed.
If
And I think
David-
that's when mimes are most effective.
if David Bowie were still alive and he'd be like, respect.
Yeah, I got
He was a mime at
kindred
one time.
spirit.
Yeah, definitely. What was I going to? Oh, every time I hear the word Orion, though, I think of. Have you ever heard of the artist Orion?
No.
Okay, this is an amazing story.
Tell me, I'm
Here's
ready.
a divergent again.
Excellent.
So Orion, there was this book written in the 70s around the time that Elvis died, and it was called Orion, and it was about this rock star that dies, but he sort of like fakes his own death.
Oh.
So this guy came out, he's from Alabama. I forget what part of Alabama he's from, or he was from, but he sings exactly like Elvis. Like he sounded like he would sing, and he would like, and I know a lot about Elvis because I'm a huge rockabilly guy, but
Yeah.
like he sounded like him. So he started doing this act where he would wear like a Lone Ranger style mask, but it was all kind of sequined. So he would do shows and people would be like, Elvis is still alive. This is Elvis because it sounds just like him. So there's some music out there with him singing, and it's like Elvis doing covers of songs it sounds like Elvis doing covers of songs that were after he died.
That's insane.
Yeah, and he put out several albums, and he's on. Look at it, and there's even a documentary about this.
What?
But just look up Orion, and you'll see the guy with the mask that kind of looks like Elvis. And
I'm so excited to look this
it's
up.
an interesting story, and this guy too. He was like brutally murdered. I think he had a pawn shop, and somebody just came in and shot him, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like a sad story too.
That is what we're named after.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That's true.
That is, yeah. That's. He's our CEO. He didn't die then either. He's still here.
Yeah,
That was the second fake death.
It was like two of them.
Yeah.
It's a double cross.
They'll never expect it twice.
It's like double jeopardy, but you didn't commit a crime. You're just trying to
You're just trying to be.
make sure that everyone thinks that you're not. That
Yeah.
This is getting really weird, but I like it.
I like the direction this is going. I feel like we've made ourselves complicit in something accidentally here.
Yes, but that's one of the. And I actually listen to that guy because he's good.
Yeah.
Like his music, he's recorded at Sun Records too, which made it even worse.
Ooh,
You know,
yeah.
we'll put this out. You know, but
Yeah, why not? What could go wrong?
yeah.
Wow.
So it's interesting.
That's
It's an interesting
wild.
story, but yeah. But I had to get that out because I'm like, I hear Orion and I'm like, oh, that's that guy.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He's back there.
He lives here.
He's pulling the strings.
He's puppeteering.
He's he's in this giant room, and he's
Yeah, he's in the bathroom right now, actually.
cool. A drop. Let me throw that down. Well, that's how do you feel about? I know how you feel about it because I feel the same way. But it's really cool that now Huntsville is able to house temporarily for the gigs larger artists.
Yeah.
Like you said Willie Nelson was here the other night.
Yeah.
And it must be some new artist. I've never heard of him, but he seems to be making waves.
He's a new start, yeah.
On the pop
Good upstart.
radio. I think he's put out a few albums, but
Yeah, he's done a couple things.
yeah.
I think we'll see. We'll see if he has
see if
lasting power.
Yeah. No, it's so cool, but what a legend. And just, I'm kind of jealous. I've seen just on the internet, a lot of cool shows, even since I've been back in Alabama. So
Yeah, we've had some amazing artists. It's so exciting. It's really, that's the best part of what I do, is getting to show off who we are as a city, who we are as a region, especially to these artists who haven't ever been to Alabama before, who never thought they would play in Alabama, really getting to showcase what Huntsville is about. It's my goal that when everybody leaves here, they want to come back on their own, whether or not they come back in the context of the Orion.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's just the best part, just getting to show off and have fun and share some of my favorite local things. It's just great.
I love it. That's sort of why I'm doing this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know about all this cool stuff in the South, and other people that aren't in the scene or may not be from here, ain't from around here, will not know about it. But I'm like, no, there's cool stuff going on, and there's people that may not fit that stereotype
it's true.
Think of.
It's such a varied culture. And we have so much to offer. We have so much to give. And I think that the perception is getting a lot better than it used to be.
I think so too.
But people aren't as surprised as they used to be.
Yeah.
Which is nice. But yeah, it's an amazing thing to be able to be really proud of this region and share it with everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And it's weird. I never thought as a kid I'd be like, I can't wait to get out of here.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. But then it's like I go to other places and they're nice and I like to visit different places, but it's like doesn't feel like home,
No, I know. I also, just growing up here, I never thought that I would see myself reflected in the culture in a really impactful way.
Yeah.
And now I definitely do. I feel really, really lucky that what I do is celebrated by the culture here. And that's amazing.
Absolutely. It definitely is. And I appreciate what you do. You got some great tunes.
Thank you.
And I appreciate how dark some of them are.
Oh, I go straight there.
So, and that leads me to my next question. So have you, as a songwriter, have you ever written a happy song?
Not very often. I think a couple times probably, but I don't know that they're always tinged with a little bit of a wistfulness, like I'm happy now, but I wasn't before. And will I be again?
Yeah. It's always that question mark. Yeah. I love it though. It's almost like it reminds me of how the Celtic thing we were talking about, how there's sort of that, duality there between the dark and the light where they kind of play with that. And, there's that gallows humor and all that
Very
stuff.
much so. Also, is there a Celtic song that ends without someone dying? You know what I mean? Like there's just not. There are these gorgeous wedding young love stories, and then somebody gets drowned by a Kelpie. It's just like
It's just normal.
It's in my blood. I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
What am I meant to do, Tony?
You just got to do what you got to do.
I am.
That's right. That's right. I was looking at different, because I'm wanting to throw a few Irish tunes into my set, and I love the traditional stuff. And I was looking at some of them, I wish I remember the name of it. It was Such a Beautiful Corpse. It's about these people just, partying at the wake or whatever. And it's dude, they were just dark, but it works. Whatever works for them gets you through.
It's true. I love an English traditional folk murder ballad. I just think it's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
But then you get some that are like, oh, well, this one's not about murder. And it's like, well, yeah, it's about a tree. Like anything, the only happiness is about nature. It's not about
That's true.
humanity.
Yeah. I think you're right. Well, and it was sort of like watching a horror movie we do now. It was entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, I know that back in the day over in Ireland, some different places, they would have get-togethers and they would just take turns telling stories.
Yeah.
And it was like our movies and
It's
stuff.
true. It's
and
the
then,
main source of entertainment.
And then the music is so cool because the folk music, it got handed down, the stories and the history. So
it's true.
It's just the cool thing.
I love it.
Thing. But, I think I do that I go, but it's like I've noticed in my little ticks, and I say like about 5,000 times. And I'm sitting here editing this, so this is going to be very meta because I'll be editing this in a while.
Listening to you talking about having to edit out.
Yeah.
It is the worst thing in the world to go, why do I talk like that?
Yeah. And
what's happening?
I say, okay, I'm not going to do that. And then I get back, like.
And then you suddenly start realizing it. And as you're doing it, you just begin hating yourself more and more, until you feel the need to address it outwardly.
Yeah.
Which is what's happened now.
It's like, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. All right, people.
It's
I know
like a defensiveness.
Yeah.
I hate me too. Okay.
All right. I know it's terrible. That's funny. Yeah. You just, whatever works.
Just go with it.
Just roll with it.
Just roll with it. Pretend you're doing it on purpose.
Well, okay. So we were talking about all that. You just dropped your new EP.
Yeah.
That's the important thing right now.
Yeah.
This is a cool time. You just dropped your EP, Death of a Debutante.
Yep.
And I'm excited. I listened to it today, and it sounds great.
Thank you so much.
I love the spooky sounds on there. It's very cool.
Thank you so much.
Good tunesmith. Good songwriting. I like the words, and
I appreciate that very much.
The darkness.
I love the words in the dark. I love the dark words.
The dark. I love the dark words.
I love
the dark words too. But it's a beauty. There's a balance there.
Yeah.
And it's not just being like, it's a different than just like being negative. It's like, there's sort of like you're taking something and making it into something positive.
Thank you so much.
I think it's cool.
I am really excited about this one because there's songs on it that I've been playing for years and years and years that you've probably heard, that I've probably played in rounds with you, honestly. And then there are songs that I wrote during the pandemic that I wrote and then immediately recorded and never really played until then. So it's a good little mixture of things, but the whole concept of this album was I was doing some social media things for a while. And I found that when you're, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. When you're a person who is relatable, which I think you are as well. When you're a person that's pretty transparent and pretty relatable, sometimes not at any fault of anyone's, but sometimes people see the parts that they relate to and they fill in the blanks. So true. I'd found that this platform that I had tried to build to help promote my music had actually done the opposite, and people didn't know that I played music anymore.
Yeah.
So this album is a little bit of, I try to never live my life in a way that feels like anyone would be surprised to find that I am dark, that I have that little bit of edge of darkness because I'm so transparent about it. But this album was really a compilation of songs about mental illness and about grief and about all of these dark kind of things that you feel when you're in that position as this debutante or socialite or whatever it is, influencer, whatever you want to call it, this public facing person who tells people what coffees to drink, that those things kind of get like pulled back and pushed aside a little bit.
People put you in a box.
Yeah. So this was very much just like, okay, it's all coming out. Here's everything.
Yeah.
Here's every shade of it. This is the death of the debutante. This is,
I love
is
it.
me being me again.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's a cool way of looking at it. And it's social media has just changed so much.
It has.
It's hard, and we're almost. I was talking to someone the other day. Like reality is so absurd now. We're in almost a post-satire society where it's so hard to make fun of anything or joke around because you just look at the news and it's more absurd than anything you can come up with.
It's wild. It really, really is. And poking fun at yourself, it gets into this place where it's like, well, if I say, hey, I'm having a mental breakdown, people think I'm joking. But if I say, but if I'm like, if I make a joke, people think I'm serious. Like, it's just this weird, constant, almost understanding and not quite kind of thing.
I get that.
We think we get what's going on and we just don't.
Yeah, on social media, you're just getting a tiny little sliver there of who someone is.
Yeah, and even if you try to put 100% out there, people can only view it from the shade of their own understanding. It's not true. You're just never going to get 100% understanding. And I feel like I'm a person who wants to be understood so badly. I feel misunderstood so much. I have that weird martyr Frankenstein thing.
Martyr Frankenstein.
I'm a monster. Nobody gets me.
I love that. That's a great band name.
Can we be in that band together?
Yeah, Martyr Frankenstein and what was that word you said? The rapper.
No count.
No count and Martyr Frankenstein.
What a bill. What a bill.
What a bill. Live at the Orion with
Martyr
Orion.
Frankenstein and with Orion. He's the surprise guest.
Yep. I would love it. He just freaking floats down.
Oh my God.
But not with wire. He's actually
He's
physically capable of floating down from the heavens.
Obviously. As he would be.
As one does. And yep.
But yeah, I'm glad you like the spookiness. I definitely leaned into it. Definitely exploited it. Yeah, I could tell you were just like, I'm going to squeeze this for all it's worth. God, yeah.
Just this. No,
it was. No, it was like, I did a promo for it last night, and I made my 1.5-year-old nephew dress as a ghost. And that was the point where I was like, have I gone too far as a person?
Nah, I have weird, there's not many things I'm scared of.
Sure.
But I'm terrified of really small children.
Oh.
That's one of my weird phobias.
Interesting.
And so I'm admitting this right now. I don't have many, I'm not scared of anything, but getting shots and certain babies, they freak me out.
Babies? Yeah. It's the word certain.
A certain baby. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice, but it's a weird it's my hang up.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I was just thinking
terrified.
in my head, I'm like, that is kind of scary.
Yeah. It was really more like, am I going to get canceled for this because he's mad at me? I am stage momming this child right now. I am a bad person.
You should have had a cigarette in the camera pans over and you pretend like you're pregnant smoking a cigarette.
I said say boo.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember reading this, it was mostly a picture, but it was this lady complaining about the jackhammers being dangerous for her unborn child. And she's on the porch smoking. And you could tell she's visibly pregnant.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What a
it's
beautiful
good.
thing.
It's good. It's beautiful. Circle of life. Well, I like the quality of the EP.
Thanks.
Who did the engineering?
So Johnny Oakwu records in Huntsville. He has a studio, out in the Chapman Mountain area.
Okay.
He is amazing. He has done everything that I've ever had, really professionally produced since 2020, I guess.
Cool.
2021. He has done it. He is so much fun to work with. He's very theatric in his production, not in his being.
He opens the door and he's just like, hello. He's all.
That's what it sounded like I was saying. He's
like
so camp. It's not. That's not what I was saying.
I knew what you meant, but now like I'm thinking of like Rip Taylor or like Liberace answers
Get
the
in
door.
here.
Get in here. Yeah. He's just very outrageous. I like it.
He's so much fun because we'll sit and I just describe, I don't have like a lot of musical theory knowledge. Vibes only.
Vibes. It's a vibe.
I go in and I'm like, hey, I want this to feel like the feeling of rain, but it's windy, but it's, like, and you're sad, but you're also hopeful, but not too hopeful because that would be wrong. But like, just like really explaining complex emotions to him. And he's like, oh, okay. And then he does it.
That's great.
That's wonderful.
And not a lot of artists really talk about that, how important it is to have a good relationship with your engineer producer, and being on the same page. It's a part, almost like part of your, even if they're not playing an instrument, it's part of your sound and part of your band.
Yeah.
And it's a communication going on there, but people don't see that in the studio.
It's true. You have to have somebody who gets your vision and is able to execute it in a way that is like preserves the vision and also takes it further than you would have because of your limited knowledge. I mean, my limited knowledge.
Yeah, it kind of becomes greater than the sum of the the sum of the parts is greater
exactly
than
right.
I went to Holly Pond, not good at math.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, come on. None of us are good at math in this room.
Yeah, but well, I know it sounds like there's different stuff going on there. So was there another musician on there? Or? Yeah,
Adam Renfro came in and did slide guitar and he did drums. He's amazing. Also, he's an hourly staff member here.
Oh, cool.
As well.
Okay.
He'd already played on Blame It on Mercury before he started working here. And I knew him from the music scene in general, and he works with Johnny a lot. So it's fun to have somebody from work on it.
Great song, by the way. I like that a lot. That's a good song.
Thank you so much.
It's got a good hook to it.
Oh, thanks.
And what is the name of that spooky song that kind of, I've already forgotten the
Necromantic?
name. Necromantic. Yeah, the one that's kind of got like an ambiance.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's my jam right
that
there.
one. Oh, thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
I wrote that one I wrote it to kind of mimic as a little bit of a love letter to Gothic literature.
Oh, okay.
In itself.
Cool.
And when we produced it, that's what we really did is we wanted it to build like a scary movie would build. And we wanted, like the creaking intensifies. And we spent a lot of time being like, okay, well, what kind of organ do we want? Do we want a church organ or do we want a funeral organ or do we want to like in the really minutia of the kind of ambient sounds on that, and that was so much fun.
It is fun. I know what you mean. To get out of your own, like, just sort of, I think all of us get into patterns, and it's just like, okay, here's a new song, A, B, okay, chorus, verse. But to sort of think of it, okay, wanted to sound like clam chowder at midnight on a tin roof,
pouring through,
sifting through the gutter in the middle of June. Okay, I'll stop.
Yeah, no, I loved that.
But
that's going to be the next album vibe.
I think that's a great device, a way of just rethinking. And I've used different things to make me uncomfortable, even though that's a fun thing. I've found that to be one of the best creative devices. Like, do something I'm not comfortable with, and then it's like,
Yeah, that was a song as well that was about something that's really difficult for me to write about. I can write about pretty much anything, but there are just a handful of things in my life that are that I'm still working through in such like a constant way that I don't know how to write about them without it just sounding like a diary entry that is like, whoa, You need to calm down. So that's a song about grief. And that's another thing about Gothic literature that I really love is that everything's always an allegory. And I love that. I love that you can tell this whole beautiful fleshed out story. And it's really this personal testament about something entirely different.
Yeah. I love that. There's layers to it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. You can look at it from sort of the outer layer, but then you also,
it's a spooky ghost song.
Yeah. Which is important.
That's right.
That's the main thing.
I wrote it. To me, it's a song about realizing that you're still trapped inside this grief and looking around and thinking that everyone else has moved on, but you're still being really messed up from it.
I get that. Yeah.
But then also you hear it and you're just like, oh, what an October jam.
Well, not to get too serious, but
I think I already did that, Tony.
No. Well, anyway, just go all
so
wacky. I mean, the whole thing with the grief, though, I mean, everyone grieves differently.
It's true.
And I've been there. I've lost really close loved ones. And it's like people forget about, and maybe not forget is a bad way to say it, but it's not in the front of their mind like it is you, and they don't think about it. So you feel sort of alone because other people are like going through their business, and you're like, oh, I'm suffering,
Yeah, it's very isolating. And it kind of makes you feel crazy. You look around and you're like, is this just me? Like, did you see that? Like, are we looking at the same thing right now? So that's very much what that song is about. Just kind of, being stuck inside this situation and going, whoa.
I think it's just a lot of songwriters and artists in general. We're just more hypersensitive.
It's true.
We pick up on things that, that are a little bit below the surface.
We're hypersensitive. And I also think we're used to expressing emotion more, especially people that at least write lyric heavy things, I think are used to dwelling on emotion more. And that in itself can be really isolating when you're around people who are not processing that way.
They're making small talk and stuff. You're like,
what?
Yep. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. We're on the same page. This has been awesome. I got a few more questions here. What was the inspiration on the last track there? What was that kind of?
So that's the sound things make when they break.
Is that which one is you doing the video premiere tonight, one. Right? Okay. That's what I thought.
One. And it was really lucky. I'm not doing the video premiere tonight anymore.
Okay. This is not going to be on there until
that's
later.
Right. Yeah.
So
it'll be out by then.
This. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be out.
Hey, whenever you guys are listening to this, just go check. Just see if it's out yet. It might be out. Who knows?
Take a look around.
Someone had a really intense concept and it took 16 hours of footage. And so it's taking a while to edit. I don't know who would have come up with that.
Yeah.
So that song, which I was really lucky to have, Hugh Lindsey, who is an amazing singer-songwriter in his own right. He came in and did harmonies on that song and just absolutely made it. I've been playing that one live for years and years and years. And it is a song that I wrote. I went through a breakup and I was already going on a trip, like a weekend getaway with my friend Matt, who he'd planned all of this. It was like a hiking trip that I was coming on with him. And when I went through that breakup, I hijacked it and I made it all about me because I think that's important for healing purposes. And so I kept calling it my wilderness walkabout. And we went on this wilderness walkabout and we communed with nature and we went hiking and we saw these beautiful things. And on the way back on the notes app on my phone, I just wrote that whole song. It was like you were talking about, like it just happened all at once.
Yeah.
But it was very much the first time I'd been through a breakup that I don't feel like it, I didn't at that time feel like it had gotten to a really toxic place. So it was the first time I had really experienced like, oh, this person did some questionable things, but there were also a lot of really good things in that relationship and things that I want to take with me and things that I want to remember. So it was just the idea that a relationship can be all of these good things and all of these bad things, and trying to reconcile that in your mind and saying like, hey, this person made me feel really good about myself, but also they lied and maybe cheated on me. Unclear. They were a pathological liar, but what you gonna do? However, they were nice to me, and that was new.
Yeah. That was new.
That was a new experience for me.
That's cool. That's a good thing. Good for you. I love that journey for you.
I love that journey for you.
That's the most passive aggressive thing like I've ever. I love that journey for you.
I love that journey. It's great journey for you. Really proud of you.
God bless.
Yeah, so that was that. It was just kind of trying to reconcile in my mind how something could be good and make me, I hadn't thus far in my life been in relationships that made me feel good about myself. And I left that one feeling good about myself, even though things unraveled at the end.
Yeah.
So it was very much about that.
Well, I think, and like what you're saying, really life, I think some of the best stories have those gray areas because that's the way life is. And it's hard to see someone in like a completely like dark or light place. There's a little bit of all that in all of us.
It's everything. And it's always, trying to look at, I think I was mid-20s maybe, and it was also probably the first breakup where I'd really looked at both sides and not also felt like their side was that I was a monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's
their version of the story is that I was a terror.
Terror.
So I was like, okay, this is fine. Also, the only ex I've never talked to again, so I don't know what that means.
Okay, well,
I only talk to the mean ones, Tony.
Yeah, well, it keeps it interesting, I guess. That friction. You got to have the antagonist and the protagonist.
That's right.
So
here's the thing I've learned about myself lately. Not to veer off topic again.
No, you're good.
But I do think there's something broken inside of me because for many reasons. But I do think that when people are nice to me, I'm like, oh, we're friends. Mm-hmm. And when people are mean to me, I think we're in love.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What is that, Tony?
Yeah, I get it. And I think like holding animosity to other people, it's like you realize as you get older, you're like, I'm going to be so mad at that. Wait, it's just hurting me.
Yeah,
why am I wasting this energy, man?
I just wonder if it's like, do I think that niceness is not genuine when it's directed at me? Where does this come from?
Good thing you can write them songs.
I don't know how to write that in a song. I think I might just need to go to therapy.
That helps too. That's the bad thing I was just thinking about this. We're having this discussion and you have such good comedic timing that you're talking about something really serious. It's like, I think I'm dying. So, it's hard to, there's different things going on. So, and I do that like too. I think I'm like a Outback bloomin' onion.
I love a bloomin' onion. Yeah. I'll tell you something though. Do not ever Uber Eats those to yourself because they will not arrive the way you want them to. Uh-oh. They're just soggy.
Do they like your Uber driver is like doing the Tokyo drift. He's like drifting and flipping it like a pizza. And you get it and it's all like.
No, it's just once they put the top on. A bloomin' onion in the wild should never have a top on it. So once you put the top on, it just sogs. It's not good anymore.
Okay. Well,
just a little fun fact.
Yeah. I've never. Well, I haven't been to Outback in a good while. I'm a vegetarian now.
Oh,
but I could hit up that bloomin' onion.
You can do a bloomin' onion.
I just like I really only use it for an analogy. So But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to delve so far into the bloomin' onion lore.
You're good. This podcast brought to you by Outback
Steakhouse.
I forget the slogan. I was going to say, "Eat fresh" or whatever.
Have it your way. Is that Burger King?
Have it your way. Food, folks, and fun.
No rules, just right.
No rules, just right. What's the other? Hot eats and cool treats. That's one of my favorites.
Freaky fast delivery.
Freaky fast. They're like screaming like, ah! Oh, here's your delivery.
Those drivers have to get hit by cars all the time.
Yeah.
Those because they're on their little bicycles.
Oh yeah. That's rough, man.
I don't like that for them.
Yeah, that's tough. That reminds me of Dale Earnhardt was really good at like bicycle tricks. Did you know that?
I did not.
There's look it up, like Dale Earnhardt Sr. bicycle tricks. He could like ride backwards and stuff.
Stop!
There's pictures of him. Yeah. This is the second Dale Earnhardt Sr. reference I've made. I made one at the last episode, so I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
I'm a big NASCAR fan, unironically. Like,
I love that.
It's weird. It's
I love
weird.
that journey for you.
I hate football. I hate football. I hate so many regular, but I'm like fast, loud.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah, vroom, vroom.
I like rugby, and I do.
Rugby,
Yeah,
okay.
I like watching them hurt each other. I think that's fun.
Okay, sadistic.
A little bit. Just a little bit. They like it. They're having fun.
Yeah. It's an interesting sport for sure. Yeah, that's hardcore right there. I mean, they're not wearing
intense.
pads or anything, right?
No, they're just free balling.
They're just
free
balling.
it.
Just whatever.
Yeah, they're going for it. I don't know, man.
I just imagine them just making guttural. They're not actually speaking English. They're just sort of
just grunting through it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how was the game? It's like they're just in a permanent grunt state.
It's like only grunts or team chants. Those are the two options.
Go team, go team.
Yeah.
I like it. This got really weird.
Again.
Well, yet again. I'm not surprised, but man, this has been so cool. And tonight, I know this is going to play later on, and of course, plays on any of your favorite podcast streaming services, the audio version.
Excellent.
And then we also have our YouTube channel that you can see our beautiful mugs. And, you can go on there and you can do the flip flop, the back and forth with the cameras. I got to be extra with it.
To pull the most unhinged clips from this and put them on my Instagram.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, definitely.
Just all the parts about feces.
The most unhinged. There's that third piece. It's, that's in classic theater. There's that opening, and then there's
Chekhov's
the in
gun.
between, and
Chekhov's feces.
They're on tour with the other bands. I forgot the other ones already.
No Count and Frankenstein's something.
Yeah.
Something.
This is like that memory game, or that game where you say one word and people add to it as it goes around the room.
What am I going to bring on vacation?
Yeah. And it gets weird.
I hate
once
that
it
game.
comes around. Yeah, I hate memories.
No, but bits. I love bits.
Bits. You don't have to think too much about it because you can change the rules in your head as it goes too.
Yeah.
So
you can just build on it. You can't build in that game. People don't like that. They disqualify you.
That's right. Free form, free balling, as you say.
Yeah, free balling. Free balling.
But anyway, so hey, thank you so much, Alex, for doing this.
This has been magical.
You're awesome, and we'll have to do it again sometime.
Please.
And, how can we find out more about you and your music and stuff on the internet, or by like snail mail, or by like Pony
Carrier
Express?
Pigeon or Smoke Signal.
Yeah.
If you follow me on Instagram, I post everything there. It's Alex Tries Life.
Okay.
And I am on all streaming services, Amazon Music, the other ones also, Spotify, and you to the YouTube.
Yeah.
And all of the ones.
You're on Yammer Jam and Jimmy Jones.
I'm on all of the ones.
Flippy Flop and
Flippity Floppity.
There's so many of them. Yeah.
There are too many. But I'm on them all.
Yep. I've heard
You just click one button and they go, all of them.
I clicked on Spotify.
Great.
Today.
That's a good one. I like to build the streams on that one because it makes you look important.
Yeah, that's. I can tell. I can tell. Like your attitude. That's all you care about.
That's all I care about.
There's no art involved. It's just. That's not true
the
at all.
The coffin that I've had custom built for this event tonight is just for the stream.
That's so awesome. And I have seen some footage of your video that you posted, and it was awesome. So
I'm
can't
really
wait to
excited
see
about
it.
It's gonna be great.
It's all spooky and
Yes.
interesting. So.
Oh yeah.
I like that concept.
Thank you so much.
But hey, we'll close it up. But thank you so much. And
you, Tony.
like I say, follow Alex on all her streaming. I almost said like your streaming service, like you own them.
Own that. I do.
You have
That's
a
why
monopoly.
I'm not worried about making money from this.
You're the dark umbrella corporation behind all the streaming. So that's the takeaway for today's interview.
Yeah.
And no, not at all. But it's a bad thing when it's a friend that I enjoy talking to. We have trouble staying on track. Closing it. But yeah, it was awesome. And, follow the show. Give us a rating if you like it. Tell your friends, tell your enemies about us. And, make them suffer. And, I think it's going to be good. I'm really, in all seriousness, I do love what's happening with this show. I've got some awesome guests coming. I can't believe how good it's been working. And, it's just very cool. And I appreciate all the support. And like I say, just if you can tell your buddy, your family, your friends, your enemies, tell them all about it. And I want to keep talking, and let's see if we can drag it out to 2. No, I'm just kidding. No, hey, thank you all so much, and we'll see you on the next one.